Okay, welcome into January, everybody. I love this month for so many reasons, but then I say that every month. But really, this month is amazing. This month is amazing because in it we get to go back to the basic fundamental principles of science of mind, and I always love doing that. And so it puts us back in touch with the amazing opportunity that each one of us has here as we look again at what it is we're embracing when we come to the center for any good reason, or especially when we come into the sanctuary to be together and to be uplifted by the truth that sets us free. Because the science of mind is the science of truth. It is the science and the study of truth and its amazing law that is governed and directed through thought, through consciousness. The science of mind reminds us that we live in a mental and in a spiritual universe. And this was not known to many in the past. In fact, in the ancient past, it was only given to a very few. They were initiated into it. They had to go through all kinds of things to get to the point of being told that you, by the way, you live in a mental and spiritual universe, and that all things are governed by thought, through consciousness, and that your entire life is the projection of your consciousness. Every experience you've had until now is the result of you projecting that through your consciousness out into your experience by means of thought. So the big secret was thought rules the world. But wait, thought rules the world, but you rule your thought. Or do you? That's the question. Or do you? Because to rule your thought, you have to be conscious. And you have to be aware of the power of consciousness and the power of thinking and the power of all of that wonderful mental, spiritual stuff. The creative force and power and presence in the universe out of which everything comes. And so when we study science of mind, we see that power for good in the universe greater than we are, as Ernest Holmes says, and that we can use for our good and the good of all, is first cause, which means it's the creator of all. Nothing existed before it, and out of it comes everything that is seen, visible and invisible, seen and unseen. First cause, known by so many names, named by so many names. We like to call first cause the one power, the one presence, the one infinite being, spirit, that which is unconditioned and unconditional, that which is without beginning and without end. We call this one power, this one presence, this infinite intelligence, one being. We call it Krishna. We call it Shiva, we call it Vishnu, we call it Brahma, we call it Om, we call it Ra, we call it Ram, we call it Odin, we call it Om, we call it all kinds of names, Allah, we call it the infinite void, we call it Mitra, and we call it Isis and Osiris, and we call it Sophia, and we call it all kinds of names. And in naming it, it remains ever and always a mystery. It always will be a mystery. Because we as finite creatures are endeavoring to call and name that which is infinite, to understand fully that which is infinite, which is not possible. But we will get to know it more, get to express it more, and get to experience it more as we apply the principles of truth, which is simply the principles of science of mind. Science of mind is absolutely nothing new. We call it new thought. And new thought is nothing more than ancient wisdom, ancient truth presented in a new way, in a different way. That's all. And as Ernest Holmes says, I haven't produced an original thought at all, ever. He just gleaned the truth as he scoured through all the sciences and all the philosophies and all the religions. He was able to bring that one truth under one umbrella and call it science of mind, which is the practice of the heart. And science of mind flows out of two scriptural concepts, one from the Old Testament, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. One from the New Testament, it is done unto you as you believe. Thought rules the world, but you rule your thought. Life is a projection of consciousness. That's what these two sayings are bringing to us. That realization that we live in a mental and spiritual universe, and our power is in the invisible realm of consciousness. And from that we can live and move and have our being magnificently or not, as the case may be, depending upon how we are using consciousness, how we are projecting thought. There you have it. Science of mind grew out of the deep love and profound honoring Ernest Holmes had for the master lover teacher Jesus the Christed one. And he says we are Christian and we are more. And we have to not forget the more. And when he says we are more, he's talking about we embrace and welcome the truth from any philosophy, any teaching, any religion. Anywhere we see the truth, we recognize it and we welcome it, and it's part of who and what we are. And when he talks about we are Christian and we are more, he's talking about the fact that what we embrace is the pure, simple, undiluted teaching of the great rabbi, the master lover Jesus, who knew nothing about Christianity in its organized state of being, was not a Christian. That came later with St. Paul. Christianity is a Pauline construct, a Pauline religion. And so we embrace the simple teaching of the master teacher Jesus, which encompasses all truth. As you would that others would do unto you, do unto them in like manner. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself, and that's it in a nutshell. And that's what we embrace, and that's what we endeavor to emulate in the science of mind. And so science of mind brings us very much into that awareness that if you want to call science of mind a religion, and it's not, but Ernest Holmes says if you want to call it a religion, remember it's a religion that is absolutely free of set absolute doctrine and dogma. It is free of superstition and it is free of fear. It is free of opinion. It just embraces the truth that sets us free. And all of the religions, isn't it funny, state the same thing. As you would that others should do unto you, do unto them in like manner. Love God and love yourself and love your neighbor. They all declare and proclaim this to be a seminal principle in their teaching, in their philosophy of life and living, and so do we. And so when we look at this first cause, when we look at it through the eyes of science of mind, which is the eyes of the truth student, the student that's seeking to know and understand more fully the truth, we see, as all other religions teach, that the divine, the infinite being, is omniscience, omnipotent, all power, omniscient, all knowing, omnipresent, everywhere present. We all embrace this, the omniness of that divine, eternal, everlasting life of spirit that we call by many names, by oh so many names. And we have our own individual names for it too. And that's why we call it the thing, the very thing itself. Very thing itself. Awesome, very thing itself. The creative power and force and presence in the universe out of which everything flows. And because of its omnipresence, that very power and presence and creative force in the universe exists right in me as one of its aspects. And I can create exactly as it creates. I can speak my word of truth through my consciousness and thinking. And I can declare that it is so, and it is so in my life and in my living. Because of that power, I can say, like Job, oh, that which I fear the most has come upon me. I thought about that. I felt about that. And now here it is. Or I can say, oh my goodness me, I knew this was going to happen and it did. Yay! I was thinking experience that low, that high, and of course we can experience the flatness when we're lukewarm in our thinking and in our feeling. So it's given to you and it's given to me to create whatever kind of life we're going to create, first and foremostly in our minds, in our consciousness, and then back all of that up with the feeling and the conviction that we have. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I could feel that coming. I knew that was going to happen, and here it is. I'm not surprised. I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to Disneyland, and here I am, I'm in Disneyland. Oh, I knew it. Where you have that fervor of a kid, of a child. I shouldn't say kid. My mother slaps me up the side of the head every time I say kid in my mind. I go, kids are nanny goats, she always told me. Children are children. So, of course, here that's different. That's different here. It's accepted that we call our children kids here. And that's okay, because it's all in the mind anyway, isn't it? It's all in the thinking anyway. And so here we are. We are given this opportunity to expose ourselves to this beautiful teaching, this incredible, transforming, powerful teaching, so that we can live our lives in celebration and stop dragging our sad, sorry selves through every day, hoping tomorrow will be better. I'll feel better tomorrow. Don't expect anything much from me today. I'm under the weather. Here's the thing about Signs of Mind. When you apply its principles, it will take you out of sickness into health. It will take you out of lack into plenty. It will take you out of failure into success. It will take you out of sorrow and sadness into joy. It will take you out of false sense of separation into harmony and unity and oneness of life and living. And you will experience the bigness in yourself and how big and great and grand it all is. And here it is, all given to me to express and experience in and through myself, because I know I am more than I think I am. I know I am more than me, that the great I am that was revealed to Moses is as present in me as it was in Moses, as it was in Christ Jesus, as it was in any great enlightened soul that ever walked this plane or is walking it now. That I am great presence is alive and magnificent in me right here, right now, regardless of my condition, my circumstances, my poor, unfortunate, sad, sorry thinking, etc. That blazes within me with the infinite possibility of any great good flowing through me as soon as I wake up and acknowledge it and identify with it and say yes to it. And back that up by the way I'm thinking about life and living and feeling about life and living and in the way I'm doing my life. That's all I have to do. And it has nothing to do with doing. It has everything to do with being. Who am I being right now? What am I being right now? What goes forth into the world as I go forth into the world? Sad, sorry, pathetic, victimizing feelings and thoughts, or resurrected life that knows nothing from here on in, as I apply the principles of Signs of Mind, will ever drown me or threaten me or floor me or stop me or block me again. Nothing. Because nothing has that power to do that when I am in alignment with the law of my being. When I am in the understanding that as I think it, so it is, that it is done unto me as I think within myself, within my heart, which in metaphysics is the subconscious mind. As I think it in my heart, so it is. As I think it, as I feel it, as I project it, so it is. When I know that and I'm using that power and I'm using that and governing that and directing that toward my good and the good of all, then I can never, ever, ever go under. I will always go over whatever it is. Whatever the obstacle is, I will not go under because of it. I will go over it, and I will be the better of it when I come out at the other side. Because it is given and it is written that this first cause, this one power, this one presence is life as love, unconditioned and unconditional. And not only is this omniscient and omnipotent and omnipresent, but it's on my side. It wants my good. Its will is that I should know life and know it in abundance, and that my joy should be complete. Even way back when, a few knew that, who had eyes that could see and ears that could hear. Way back when, Isaiah is telling us, oh my gosh, before you were born, I knew you. Indeed, I knit you in your mother's womb. There is no place you can go and be separated from me. You can try to go to the highest mountain. You can try to go into the deepest sea. You can go through water. You can go through fire. And I will be there, and I am with you, because I have always been with you, and I always will be with you. You are mine. I have chosen you. I have carved your name on the palm of my hand. You are loved, you are honored, and I will always be with you, and in my own house shall you dwell forever and ever, and no other house but mine shall you dwell forever and ever, in spite of your sad, sorry, bad self. No matter what. No matter what. Sooner or later in my journey through my eternal life, I will come home to myself like the prodigal, and it will all be restored back onto me, and then some, the greatness and the glory that was always mine from the beginning. And what's going to happen for me is going to happen for you, because guess what? You were taken to the spiritual vet, and you have a homing device in you that's going to get you home sooner or later, some way or another, now or then, whenever it's going to be. But guess what? You get to choose when that is. You can take the sauntering path. You can meander along. That's interesting. Let's see what's up there. You can just take a direct path and go along merrily along your way, or you can be on the fast track. It's up to you. But I tell you this, for me, I'm sick of the slow boats to China. I really am. I want the fast track now, and I want to be all that I can be right here, right now, in this lifetime, in spite of my sad, sorry self. In spite of that, I know it can be done, and all I have to do is move out of that understanding of myself as some kind of victim or another, and the victim of life and living and so on and so forth, and understand I am life's triumph. I am the pinnacle of life's creation. I am equipped with that amazing infinite intelligence that lives, moves, and has its being in me, and I can call it upon it any time, and it is written and it is told since time began that our God is a very real and present help. Call on me and I will answer, and indeed before you even ask, I will know what it is you're asking for, and it is already in place, given to you. All those gifts are under your eternal Christmas tree. You just have to pick them up, open them up, and take them unto yourself. And use them, and use them, and use them, the gifts that are given. Because no one person on this plane was ever given one gift more than anybody else. Everybody's given the same radiant, magnificent consciousness to use, to bring about their own good and the great good of all. And so we either use it, or we have it unavailable to us by not using it. We never lose it. That's the one thing we never lose. We never lose the presence of God. We never lose the power of God. We never lose the infinite possibility of the life of spirit within us happening. We don't. We can fall unconscious to it. We can ignore it. We can leave it there and not touch it and let it be. Amongst all those other gifts that you have in the back of the closet that you really didn't ever remember you had until you were cleaning out the closet. You said, oh, I forgot I had that. Oh, yeah. I've had that for 6 months now, or whatever. Gosh, it must be over 2 years since I got that. Whatever. Whatever gift you are given, make use of it. If you don't want to use it yourself, give it to somebody else who does. But make use of it. Whatever good you have, make use of it. Make use of it. It's a blessing that you pour out. And the thing about blessings that you pour out, they pour and shower back over you again. It's the nature of reciprocity. It's called the law of reciprocity. What goes out comes back. What goes out comes back. What goes out comes back. I go around blessing everything and everyone. Then that blessing comes right back to me and pressed down and spilling over and magnified and multiplied. That's the way it works. So I was saying this morning, you know, those of us, and I just had this conversation with somebody who said, oh, no, I wasn't feeling, this is a person that always is up and full of jingly Jew and delight and so on. And when she doesn't, she shuts the blinds, locks the door, keeps herself in, retires from life and living until she gets over it. I'm saying that's the very time when you need to take your sad, sorry, derriere out into life and living, regardless of whether you're limping on your last nerve, can't face it, whatever. That's the very time you need to get out there and find something or someone to bless. And that releases you from the binds, the cords of that erroneous thought and thinking and feeling. And starts to release that from you and alleviate that in you and bring you back to yourself. You hear people say, oh, I wasn't myself for the last few days. Well, who were you? Whoever it was, I hope it was good. You're always yourself. You're always yourself. There's only the self of you, the self of your being. What you're really saying is, I was misbehaving myself for the last few days because I was going into falsity and separation and erroneous thought and feeling and consciousness. And it's pretty darn miserable to do that. And it is. But you know what? If you do that, if you have a blue day and you're feeling miserably, at least take control of it. Don't be a victim. Take control of it. Say, it is my day to be blue. I am having a blue day today and I'm going to make the best blueness there ever was. I'm going to plunge deeply into this well of blueness and I'm going to be as miserable as all get up, as possibly as I can get. I am going to be the most miserable thing on this plane today. And let me tell you, after 2 minutes of that kind of intensity, you'll be jumping out and say, that's enough of that. But you've given your whole self up to it. And you've done it as a sovereign being, as a sovereign choice. It's your decision. Nothing outside of you is controlling you. You're controlling yourself. It's not because the world is getting at you and everybody's out to get you and so on. You're saying, it's my day to be blue. And I'm taking control of my blueness. I will decide what color that blue is and what the feeling of that blue is and how long that blue is going to last. It's my decision and I'm jolly well going to be one with it. I'm going to give myself up to it. I will not do this blueness half-heartedly. I could use another expression, but I won't. I'm in the sanctuary. I will put my whole self into my blue mood. Never was there a blue mood such as mine before Hollywood. You need to come and visit me. I am drama personified on steroids. So take control, take charge. Be whatever it is you've decided to be and stop feeling like you're victimized. That something else outside of you is causing it. It's not. You are. And that's a beautiful thing to know. Now, if you can work it to that effect on the negative side of life, you sure as heaven can work it on the positive side of life. And here's the thing. It's hard to make yourself blue because you're going against your nature. So much easier to make yourself sunny and light because it is in keeping with your divine nature. And so it happens more quickly than making yourself blue, because that you have to work really hard at, because it's not who you are. It's not reality. It's not true. And yet you and I can do a great job of convincing ourselves that what is true is, what is not true is true. What is not a reality is real. Don't tell me I don't have mental, emotional pain. I can describe my mental and emotional pain. Yes, you can. And it is a fact, but the fact is not the truth. It's a fact, it's not the truth. And a fact that is not the truth is based on nothing, has no foundation, no substance to it, and it cannot stay alive until, or it cannot stay alive when you take away your power from it, which is your thinking from it, which is your consciousness from it, which is your feeling from it. And as soon as you take your consciousness and your feeling and your awareness of it away, it must dissipate itself because it has nothing to stand on. It's not substantive. It has no foundation. You see, what gives all of the negatives power is our power of mind, our power of consciousness, and our power of thought. Oh my goodness me, my dear ones, do we not have something great and good going for us? We are in the process of unraveling the truth of our being, which is the greatest of all things. A spiritual goal of realizing the truth of yourself is the seminal goal. And we are in it. That's why we're in the sanctuary, because it is given to us now to know that the power and the presence of the Almighty, the creative force of the universe, lives, moves, and has its being in me, and I can use it for my good, and I can use it to declare any good, to relieve myself of any negative, and to draw unto myself any positive. I can use the power and the presence of the Almighty for that good reason. And I can also do it for others as well. My goodness, are we not blessed? Are we not showered with an amazing blessing here in this moment today, that we should know this when so few do? Yes. But we have got to have eyes that see, and we've got to have ears that hear, and we've got to have a receptive heart, and a mind and a consciousness and an awareness that says yes to life, and only to life, and yes to nothing else, to the truth that sets us free. So for this week, I'm asking us all to focus on the realization that every time I'm experiencing a negative whatever, I have gone into separation from my source. I've gone into separation, I've gone into isolation, and I have forgotten the power and the presence that lives and moves and has its being in me. And as soon as I do that, I'm going to call, and you're going to call that power and the presence to consciousness, to mind again, and move through whatever negative it is with grace and ease and peace and joy and loving relationship, and always through creative expression. That's what I'm asking us all to do this particular month, to accept the abundance of the principles of this teaching, to accept the abundance of its peace that it brings to us when we embrace it and identify with it and live from it. Live from the moreness, live from the greatness, live from the one presence, and live from the one power in everything I think, in everything I feel, and in everything I do. Are we on for that this week? Yes. Are we ready to stay united and at one with the source and the power of our being? Yes. Are we ready to govern and direct our thinking to the good? Yes. Are we ready to become our sovereign selves? Yes. And end all this victimhood and victimization that we've allowed ourselves to feel? Yes. We're ready? Yes. We're steady? Yes. And we're going? Yes. Yes, and so it is.